Hi, everybody. My name's Andy Kaestle. I'm an associate director here at the Tuck School within the Career Services team. I myself am a Tuck alum. I graduated in 2017. I spent 4 years at Bain & Company doing generalist consulting, management consulting work, and have been back at Tuck now working on this incredible team now for about 3 years. First, we're an incredibly well-resourced team. The student to advisor ratio allows us to get to know students and help them through their personalized journey. And that's just that for most MBA candidates. It needs to be personalized to them. There are more of us, which allows us to have more touch points, more conversations, get to know students on a more individualized level. And it also allows us to understand the specific professional aspirations and personal goals and priorities that students should be taking into account when considering a search. Aside from size, we're also made up of a team made up of team members who have experience working in, and in many cases, recruiting others into jobs that MBAs routinely pursue. Our executive director is a Tuck and McKinsey alum. Our finance lead spent more than 15 years working on Wall Street. We've got dedicated tech recruiter based in the Bay Area, also a Tuck alum. I mentioned that I spent some time at Bain, was a Tuckie myself, and led some recruiting efforts while there, and multiple other Tuck alums and alums of companies such as Google, John Deere, eBay. It's a fantastic team. It's worth noting that the support of all the students goes beyond simply our team. From professors, administrators, peers, second years, the entire community really thrives because each student feels well supported as they navigate their unique MBA journey. I'll start by saying we're incredibly grateful to be starting from a position of having very strong relationships and a great reputation amongst many of the world's most sought after employers. Yes, all of the large companies that you can think of, but our team also invests a lot in building relationships with smaller companies that span any industry that an MBA candidate may be looking to fill. Second, some think the rural New Hampshire location of Tuck is a disadvantage, but the fact of the matter is most employers, big and small, come to campus, and when they do, they actually love to spend the day here. They give a presentation, they have lunch with students or meals with students, they host office hours, attend events. It's quite frankly the perfect distance from a major city like Boston or New York, where it doesn't deter employers from coming, but once they are here, they do want to spend time here, which is great. The most common reason we hear from MBA students for why they want to come and get an MBA at Tuck, it's often that they've developed some really solid pre-MBA experience, typically in a more narrow band. Maybe someone was in sales, someone else was an accountant. That's how I was trained prior to getting my MBA. Get leaders of the military, someone from finance, any number of things. And they come to Tuck wanting to broaden that skill set as a way to pivot into something else. So just as a starting point, sort of the career transition is a really common rationale for wanting to come get an MBA. If I pair this with the fact that business schools don't want a bunch of students who came from the same background, worked at the same companies, in the same roles, and have the same experiences, and want to do the same things, they instead want people that are diverse in culture, diverse in terms of how they think, different professional experiences, what they want to do, etc. So what all of this means is that every single student is different, every single student is unique. Very intentionally, our career services function is set up to help students transition from their unique starting point to their unique desired post-MBA career outcome. A student that's interested in consulting, they let us know that, they come in, we begin getting to know them, getting them acclimated to the process and the timeline for recruiting for consulting roles over the summer. They arrive on campus, they've got this incredible curriculum of interactive classes, sessions, mentorship programs, resources, and most of all, a second-year class of Tuckies that's fully invested in paying it forward and helping as many first years navigate the complexities and nuances of the process as possible. For example, sessions on crafting your narrative or speed networking sessions, live case demos, a comprehensive curriculum of case interviewing skills taught by volunteering second-year students. The list goes on and on. Now, if we were to think about, there's plenty of different students and differences within that population of students that are interested in consulting. Let's take a student who's less familiar and comfortable with networking. We can learn that, know that, and ensure they invest in gaining that experience early on in the recruiting process, given the importance of the networking piece of the process. Or perhaps we could take a student who's less familiar with the case interview. We can learn that, again, know that, and help them build a list of resources, sessions, mentors that can help them turn that blind spot into a strength. The team, resources, and processes we have in place can take someone who literally has zero clue about what the consulting recruiting process looks like, and we can facilitate opportunities for them to learn everything they need to know to be successful in that process. As another example, perhaps outside of consulting, let's maybe take a student that's interested in sustainable energy. And if we made this a bit tougher, let's say that this is a pretty big career pivot or career transition. Let's say that the student comes into Tuck without any prior experience in the space. That student can affiliate with our Revers Energy Center. They can do a first-year project for a client in the space. They can form a team and enter certain case competitions, take specific classes, have conversations with professors, talk to alums, and work with our dedicated energy and sustainability career advisors. Within the Tuck School, we've actually recently formalized this process through a program called Compass, which helps students accumulate experiences, contacts, and knowledge of a particular industry and role, which helps them build up their resume and showcase to prospective employers that they are in fact serious about this as a post-MBA career path, and that they're not only serious about it, but they're coming into that employer with some valuable experiences and valuable skills. The Compass program is open to any student who wants to engage in it. And if I were to expand a bit on what that program includes, it is a healthy dose of mentorship across stakeholders within the Tuck School. And that includes professors, members of the staff, such as career services, alums, and industry professionals. So the idea here is that the student would receive some support in building out sort of a personalized board of directors, which is a great experience for them. There's also certain trainings that come along with engagement in the program. A lot of these trainings are focused on helping students think about how to reflect on their experiences to date and reflect on what it is that they want to get out of the Tuck and specifically the Compass experience. So really, the Compass program can be applied to any and all different recruiting paths. I myself am an individual that engages with students through this program, and I work with students that are pursuing careers in finance, consulting. I mentioned the energy and sustainability example because that is an example from one of my mentees. And we find that the program really helps students, regardless of career ambitions and career focus, really accumulate some really good contacts and experiences across that particular focus area. It's well known that the Tuck Alumni Network is highly engaged and willing to help prospective students, current students, and fellow alums learn about an industry, prepare for interviews, build connections, and those connections are invaluable for recruiting prospects, career advancement, things like that. It's not uncommon for Tuckies to email 10 alums and to actually get 10 responses, and then have 10 conversations, which poses an incredible advantage, especially to current students. The MBA job market, if I just think about sort of the 3 years that I've been in this role, as well as the 4 years that I was at Bain and leading recruiting efforts there, as well as kind of just keeping an eye on the MBA recruiting market prior to that. It's very cyclical, but current students will always benefit from the ability to tap into the Tuck Alumni Network. I'll share something here that I say to many of the students I work with. Having a strong contact, ally, supporter within an organization that you're applying to will never hurt you, especially for MBA level jobs where relationships and connections are what could make the difference between being selected for an interview and not being selected, or ultimately receiving a job offer or not receiving a job offer. If I were to summarize, the Tuck Alumni Network makes it easy for students to get a foot in the door. If I think about the skills that students need in order to be successful in a career search, sure, there's the tactical, how to put together a resume and focus on the things that are most important to an employer, how to highlight certain experiences within a cover letter, how to sell yourself during a networking conversation in a way that catches the attention of a prospective employer. And then, more, I guess, like technical aspects of an interview, whether that be a case interview for a consulting job or a technical interview for a banking job. Those are all things that we certainly can do. And we do really, really well, shown by our strong employment metrics through our employment report. If I also think about an aspect of our role, it's that each student is a little bit unique in terms of what they bring to the table as far as natural strengths and potential development gaps or blind spots that they can work to fill, that's going to help them in this career search, but in all likelihood, future career searches that a student is going to pursue after graduation. And so helping them build a process where they can keep themselves organized, reach out, some structure around how to prepare for interactions, things that they can fall back on when conducting future searches. If I also think about some common trends that we see amongst MBA students, typically in a classroom setting amongst your peers, one of the real value adds of an MBA experience is the opportunity to have a lot of different perspectives looking at a particular problem and working towards solving that problem in an efficient way, but really looking for the optimal solution. And having a diversity of perspectives in the room is really valuable, only if folks are willing to share that perspective and defend that perspective. And so a lot of what we do in terms of employment readiness is helping students understand, for example, how to share and defend their perspective, perhaps in a classroom, but equally importantly, once they get into a role as professional. And then, perhaps at times respectfully disagree with a classmate or a work colleague and follow that up with a strong perspective about why it is that you disagree. So these are foundational social skills that you can't necessarily learn, or these things can't really be taught by reading a book. However, these are things that we can identify as a member of the career services team and help students to work towards improving over their time at the Tuck School. One of the things that we take into consideration on the career services team is that around the time that many are getting their MBAs also happens to be a time of change for a lot of students. This was the case for me. I got married just before the start of my Tuck journey, after arriving in Hanover, actually, and got married on Dartmouth's campus. We welcomed our first child during my second year, and meanwhile, I was navigating a career pivot. And Tuck gave me an incredible amount of life perspective that helped me make a well-informed decision, taking into account the ambitious career goals I had, but also my growing family priorities as well. For that, I'm incredibly grateful, and therefore make this a focal point of many of the conversations I have with students that are going through similar changes in their lives, while also trying to really chase down and achieve those lofty career ambitions.